to keep pushing the limit is extremely important, because if you're not, somebody else is, and they're pushing you not to the limit, they're pushing you out of the game. We've had times where we lost so much money, but we kept going. And the more shots you shoot, the more likely you will score. If you don't shoot at all, you're not going to score. Interest kills you. Interest takes all your profit away. So the same thing, you're going to pay rent in a specific spot, $2,500, add another $1,000, make it $3,500. But 5 years, 6 years, 10 years after doing that, you will own that building. Honesty, number one, and understanding your client and being able to give the client, deliver exactly what they are looking for.
So I learned digital marketing and copywriting and scripting and online sales. And that's why my law firm is so digital driven. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Awad Pod. Today, I have the pleasure and honor of interviewing my older brother, Omar Awad, the original OG Joker Man. And in typical Awad Pod fashion, we have a custom CEO lawyer shirt that says Joker Man.
Yes.
So this one is Joker Man. I'm not going to make you take your suit off.
Beautiful.
And then this one says Omar, the OG.
The OG.
The OG. So we got you some custom shirts for that,
love
bro.
it.
Welcome to the show, man.
It's a pleasure to be here. It is a pleasure to be here.
The question that I wanted to ask you was, you taught me a lot about branding. And what I learned about branding early on from you was, if you can make your brand cool and relatable, people will pay to promote your brand.
Of course.
And most people do branding by advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Their logo doesn't look cool. There's no association with the community. Or worst thing, they try to charge people for it.
Correct.
When no one really wants it. And even worse, they try to sell like the stickers and try to sell these things that no one even wants. So the branding, specifically with Joker's Audio in the early days, happened when we decided it's time to start putting Joker's Audio stickers on everyone's car. Mm-hmm. How were you able to make it cool for people to have a Joker's Audio sticker on their car?
Well, there's a few different ways, but the important thing that really blew it out of the park was giving discounts. If people put the sticker on, an advertiser would give them discounts, number one. Number two, if you purchase merchandise from Joker's Audio, you have the sticker on. As long as that sticker decal is on that vehicle, no questions asked, you have a full warranty on your product. So if you blow a speaker, if anything, and you have a sticker, a Joker's Audio decal, and that product was purchased from Joker's Audio, even if it's usually in electronics, it's 12-month, 1-year warranty. If it's 2 years, 3 years, you still have warranty. To this day, this is 12 years ago. This guy still has the Joker's Audio sticker on his truck. I saw it not long ago. But as long as the sticker is on that vehicle, you have warranty on your product.
So
even if you didn't, you have a receipt, that's fine, but no receipt required. If that sticker is on that car, you come in, that decal, you're promoting the business, we will replace it with no questions asked.
So anyone that had a Joker's Audio sticker on their car, they would get unlimited warranty on all the electronics that they bought from us, so long as they had the sticker on their car, the decal. Joker's Audio. And number two, it entitles you to a discount. So you get a discount on future purchases with Joker's Audio if you have the Joker's Audio decal on your car. How many stickers do you think we installed on people's windows in Dalton over those years?
When it started, Ali, we had a person make the decals. To answer your question, I have no clue. But what I can tell you is it was enough.
You think it's more or less than 1,000?
Ali, we probably put 1,000 every 2 to 3 months. It was enough decals and stickers to purchase the plotter machine and 100 rolls, different colors, to have in stock ready to go. So that just tells you, you were the man. You were the man.
Who was the one that
did it? It was we were purchasing so much that it was ridiculous to have it.
Do you think it's more or less than 10,000?
More or less than overall, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely more than 10,000.
So guys, here's something you need to know about brand. We figured out a way to put our brand, Joker's Audio, on everyone's car. And the way we did it, Omar came up with the idea of, if you have a Joker's Audio sticker on your car, you have a warranty on all of your electronics that you buy from us. But in addition, if you have the Joker's Audio car, the decal, you're part of our exclusive discount club.
Yes.
Now, we didn't make this official or anything. It's just like, oh, you got a Joker's Audio sticker? Oh, you're cool. But then what ended up happening was we started putting them on so many people's vehicles that people started coming to the shop just asking for the sticker.
Correct.
And so we realized there was so much opportunity here that we started buying the plotter machine. I remember in like 2001 maybe, I bought a Master XY300P on eBay.
Yeah.
It was $699.99 plus $75 in shipping. So the total was $774.99. And then I realized also that there's different types of vinyl.
Correct.
So if
Colors,
you're- yeah.
variations, thicknesses.
Like nothing was cooler than having a custom Joker's audio
the color
sticker.
you wanted.
Your color to match your vehicle and custom size. And I could do it like this. You
When-
want to know what's crazy? Right now, in my law firm, 25 years later, we're sitting in our podcast room. We have a warehouse in the back full of CEO lawyer swag. And we have a machine that screen prints people's names
Custom.
on their shirts. So every single person gets a custom CEO lawyer shirt when they come into our office. And they will wear it proudly
course,
because it has their name on
Taylor,
it.
the color. So
But
look,
you told me that. You were
of
the one
course,
that, so you were the one that taught me that.
You have to. Look, clients love to be taken care of. That's the whole point, the customer service. So everybody sends out these packages. So yes, I did come up with this where if you're going to send them a shirt, that says CEO lawyer brand or whatever it is that you're advertising, pushing, for a few dollars, you can put their name, tailor it, the color they want. Just put their name beside yours. So now that shirt with their name on it, they will wear it way more, like this one that my brothers just gave me. Has my name on it. That's me, okay? So it feels like, this was made just for me. It was, but at the same time,
Took 5 minutes of effort.
it took 5 minutes
Because
of
we
effort
have the
that created
infrastructure.
how much more value for me.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
And brand loyalty.
Correct. So that is so important that people don't realize. Just a little bit more, just a little bit more work. It's that little sizzle that you add. It makes so much value for the client and not much effort to do it, that it makes all the difference in the world. And people don't realize that. In many businesses, they don't realize it. Like following up with clients. We were talking about sales. When you follow up with clients, everything is good. But when you pick up the phone in sales, hey, let's say you're a car salesman or speakers for me. Hey, I just wanted to check up on the system. How you doing? Do you like the system? Is everything good? 90%, everything is good. But if there's a problem, if something is hey man, no, one of them quick. Well, guess what? You could bring it in. We'll check it out. We have an opening. They didn't call you. You called them to check on them.
It's called outbound customer service.
Now, once you start doing that, you're going to catch a few that say, hey, as a matter of fact, my wife just bought a car. Can I bring it in to get some speakers put in it? Can I do this? So now the client is like, man, this guy's awesome, because I wanted to do that. But, people, when you have to spend money, they sometimes delay, especially it's for the wife, for somebody else other than themselves. When it's themselves, but if it's a wife or a friend or something, hey, yeah, I have a friend who just bought a car and he loves my system. I'm going to send him your way. So that little extra effort creates a lot of value, especially if you're consistent with it. And it's where this is the normal salesman. This is the professional salesman right here.
Do you remember the first sale you ever made?
The first sale
First big sale you ever
the
made?
first big sale I ever made, yes.
What was the first big sale you ever made?
The first big sale I ever made, Ali, was two 15-inch power acoustic mofos in a
I remember the mofos.
Probot. What kind of vehicle did it go in? If
Okay,
you know, you'd be good.
Okay, I'm gonna
If you
guess.
know-
I'm gonna guess
It's a good guess.
a Ford Explorer.
No, it was actually a
Expedition?
Navigator. A blue Navigator that had the interior done.
Okay, that was the first big sale.
was the
I
first
remember
big-
that one,
Yeah,
bro. That was a big sale.
it was a big sale.
I thought you were gonna say the JL Audio 15s from like some dude with a weird white name that was Brahim's friend in high school. You remember that guy?
Yeah, that was Alan Norris.
It wasn't Alan Norris.
Yes, it was 100%.
Was it Alan?
100%.
There's another guy that bought-
Andrew was his brother. He was in my class.
Yeah.
Alan was in Brahim's class, Alan Norris, and it was in a Jeep Cherokee. I remember that was the biggest sale that went to Dalton High School that put us on the map with the high school clients. Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody from high school, when they heard his, because he was on the football team, and
Alan Norris was a big guy too.
yeah, he was a very big guy. So I did Andrew's, which he's my classmate. After I did Andrew's stereo system, he told me, hey man, my brother wants a stereo system. So bring me it. And I remember we had 215s. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ali, they were like W1. They're not the biggest one.
W0 or W3. It wasn't a big
Yeah,
one.
exactly. But what made it so good is it was in a Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah.
215s in a sealed box. Back then, bro, it was dang. You know what I mean? What is that? So everybody, what year was that? 2001? 2002?
So no, because you graduated high school 2007, 2008, but he was 2005. So it had to be before 2005.
Yeah, it said 2001, 2002.
No, not that late because
Bro, it
you
was
also had to be in high school at the time.
Okay.
So I would say 2003.
okay, maybe 2000.
But still, that's a long time
It was
ago.
before we had purchased anything from any wholesale distributor. This was when we just started, and we started with one speaker from Walmart, and then we had used stuff trading in, and and just kind of matching up the correct stuff. I remember when we came across those, I said, "Man, this is going to be a good one." We didn't even have to know that much, but everything worked great, and it sounded so good, so good.
Dude, why do you think Joker's Audio became so popular in the early 2000s, late 2000s? What did we do to make the Joker's Audio brand so well known in Dalton, Georgia?
We were relatable. That's the goal. That was the key. We were relatable. When back then, Ali, we were in high school.
Yeah.
Okay? And they speak to you, they see you, they feel like they can equal, not somebody that's way up here walking into a store. I don't know anything about it, And also, Ali, you were reachable for the client. Not only were you reachable, you were friendly. So they would be able to speak to you the way they wanted to speak to you. You see what I mean? Which is different because you walk into a store, you're like, oh, I don't know how to speak to him. I'm not comfortable. I'm not happy this. Whereas the clients were like, man, this guy's in my class. That's my boy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it goes both ways. But the key was that's the guy to go to because he's in our class. We're the same, And after we did the first one, second one, third one, and then the idea of the Joker's Audio sticker came along, that's it. It blew it out of the park because nobody at that time was putting stickers, Joker's Audio stickers. You see what I mean? On their vehicles.
Well, there was another shop that was putting stickers, big stickers on their nice cars.
Yeah.
But they weren't doing it the way that we were doing
Correct.
it. And so if you take it back to the Joker's Audio days, do you remember the first car audio sale you ever made?
The first car audio sale I ever made was a 15-inch VR3. It was, what was that? It's from Walmart.
Roadmaster, I think.
I think it was Roadmaster VR3. Who made it? It's not Roadmaster. It's a little bit higher brand quality. But I had it in my 1992 Geostorm. I bought it. I remember exactly. It was $53, and that was a lot of money. $53. But it was a brand new speaker from Walmart. Okay, and I was like, yes. And I had a box. Put it in. It sounded not that good, but
it was
because
a tiny car, so
yeah, it was
everything
tiny.
sounded good.
So that was the first speaker I have ever sold. Before that there was used, which was a Visonic 10-inch in a sealed, or not the sealed, the band pass box that they come in, that I took on a tray on something else. But the first new speaker that I ever sold came from Walmart. 15-inch VR3 was the speaker brand, and it was game on. After that, it was game on because it wasn't that hard. You see what I mean? Selling the product was not that hard. The issue is we were matching up the ohm loads. We had to learn that. Match up the wattage, okay? And should it be a ported or a sealed box? So after we did it so many times, we learned, okay, this is how you do it. You don't need the most expensive system. Like you just said, when you have a small car, a hatchback, or an
You can put anything in there.
so the sub is in a box, which is creating a lot of bass. And then the vehicle that you're in is a box that the client is inside of.
Yeah.
So you're going to hear it,
Yeah.
So once you understood that, and then the step up was the ohm load, matching the ohm load correctly. You don't have to use a very, very expensive amp and put it on the wrong ohm load and think, oh, it's cutting off. No, it needs a bigger amp. No. If you wired it correctly, when we learned all of this, then we could match it up, became profitable, sounded good, and the warranty would stick because it's wired correctly.
So you were one of the first ones. You were the first one in our family that got us onto the car audio business. And this was back in the 1804 Murray Avenue days.
Yeah.
Auto Kingdom.
Yep.
We're selling used cars.
Yep.
We're 8, 9, 10 years old, changing tires at a mechanic shop. But then you decided, man, no, I want to start getting into the car audio game. Do you remember what your thought process was? Like, why was a 10-year-old deciding, let me try this other type of side hustle?
Well, selling used tires at $25 a piece. Okay, so let's break that down quickly. We would go buy these tires for $3 to $5 from a junkyard. You'd have to go to a junkyard, wherever it is, muddy, horrible conditions. And by the time you did the whole thing, the profit was like $15, $18, okay? And it was a lot of work. That's mounted, balanced, everything, okay?
Yeah, I remember.
So I remember I was like, okay, this is what's happening. And that was a moneymaker. selling used tires was a moneymaker, you know?
Especially when people would want new tires. Do
Exactly.
you remember how we used to sell new tires?
How do we used to sell new tires?
Yeah.
I mean, we ordered them. I remember we would have that. If somebody came in, we never had anything in stock. We'd get it from Walmart. Douglas.
Extra Track.
Is that what it's called?
Douglas
Douglasville?
Extra Track.
Douglas Extra Track.
And what's the other brand?
Mild Star.
Uniroyal.
Uniroyal.
Dude.
Hey, Uniroyal was not that bad though. I remember we
No,
sold a lot
Uniroyal
of-
was good.
Yeah.
Okay, what a lot of people don't know is that we started selling tires when we were 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
And we did not, as 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds, we obviously didn't know much about business, but we knew we needed to sell. And so some customers would come in and buy used tires. And the used tires, we would get them from a junkyard for $3 or $5 a piece. But then we found out a way that we can get used tires for free. And it was whenever customers would come in, we could sell them new tires. We didn't have any new tires in stock. We would just say, oh, it's at our warehouse. And what we would show them was the brochure that Walmart had from their wheel and tire center.
Yep.
And we would delete. So we would scan that paper and we would delete all of the actual prices.
Yep.
So we can match and say, look, this 155.80.13, we know it's $19 at Walmart and we could sell it to them for $40, $50 plus another $40 for mounting and balancing. Give me the $240 up front and then I'll have someone pick it up from the
By
warehouse.
the time me or Ali or Brahim were breaking them down, the cars on the rack, taking off the tires, my dad or one of the guys would be on their way to Walmart, picking those tires up and bringing them back. So yeah, it was, leveraging what you know. And there was no money. We did not have, I think, a set of tires for 5 years, brand new set of for 5, 6 years. It was just, everything was used tires. And, over time we had good quality used tires. That was very, very important. But like you said, when we started selling new tires and realizing that we can take their old tires, clean them up and sell them, the profit. But Ali, what did it boil down to? Another $7, $8 per tire? You know what I mean?
No, it was good.
Well,
Good
the
money,
cost
bro.
was 5, 6, 7. Yeah, but
On the used ones.
correct.
But what I'm saying is on the new tires, whenever we'd find a customer that wanted to upgrade their tires, usually they'd have, 1 or 2 tires that were bad. The front ones would go bad quicker if it's a
Correct.
front wheel drive vehicle, rear wheel drive, so on. And so you could just tell them, hey, why would you buy a used tire for $30 when you can buy a new one for $49?
Yes.
And we knew that we could buy the new tire for
19, 20 bucks.
$19, $20, $25. But what we really wanted was the other 2 used tires because
Correct.
no one ever wanted their old used tires. No one ever takes their used tires with them after they change them. In fact, you could charge them a tire disposal fee.
Correct.
So we figured out instead of selling used tires, buying them from a junkyard for $3 to $5 a piece, selling them to customers for $25, at age 8 or 9, we would instead sell people new tires that we didn't have in stock, tires that we would sell simply by showing people a brochure with pictures and pricing that we created, and then send someone to Walmart to go and buy those tires. By the time the customer's car was already on the lift, the old tires were off, the new tires would arrive, and we would install those new tires, and now we would charge them for the used tires as a disposal fee, which we would then sell to other customers for $25, $30, rinse and repeat. This is how we started the tire business. And with 4 kids from age 8 to 11, working in a mechanic shop every single day with my dad, this is how we cut our teeth. This is how we made money. But then at some point, my brother Omar decided we can do better than this. There are better businesses that we can get into. And I remember there was this Palestinian family. It was weird because car audio was like owned by Palestinians. Even to this day, it's
Yes.
mostly Arab-owned business. There was a company called Stereo One that was around. And they were also Palestinians. They were older than us, and they had the really nice cars. I remember they had a Mustang with 22-inch wheels. And that was like the craziest thing ever for a Mustang to have 22s back in the 90s.
Yep, exactly.
Right? Now, when I bought my Mustang, when I graduated law school, it was normal to put some 22s on it because everyone's seen it. But in the 90s, they were doing some crazy things. And we saw, okay, these guys are the big dogs in town. In every single car, they would put a huge Stereo One sticker on it. So I guess I never asked you, bro, like, what were some of the things that made you want to get into the car audio? Were you really influenced by the other, Arabs that were doing car audio?
I really liked it. It was something different, like even though other people were doing it, okay, but the twist that we put on it was a little different. And then if you think about it, what I realized from the used tire business, so Ali, necessities. So when they're coming for the tires and stuff like that, they just want to get going. You see what I mean? For the lower middle class that we were catering to, anytime it's a necessity, it's just just get me going.
No one complains about the price of a Louis Vuitton bag.
The luxury.
They only complain
The
about the
luxury.
price of eggs and milk.
So I've realized when it's something to enjoyable, you don't need a stereo system. Nobody needs this. The car
luxury.
comes, it's a luxury. Okay?
Yeah.
So when the people start coming for these, they're willing to spend more. Now, when they see it in your car, when they see a system in your car and they sit in the car and they hear it and they see you smile and then you have your boy beside you like, yes, the hype man. Your hype man is like we're more excited about the system we're trying to sell that we're like, we're talking about it, you know? So when it was just the lifestyle, the fun that it brought, you know, the happiness that it brought to me, to my brothers, to the people working with us.
We made it fun for people to buy from us.
And people started realizing that, like, man, I love this, you know what I mean? And yes, of course, the knowledge came after, but the point was to begin is we want to enjoy this. And the people that came to buy this, Ali, it wasn't, like I said, a necessity. They don't need this, you know? So when they came, it was not $300, $400, $500. Used tires, $100. Stereo system, $300, $400, $500,000. Okay? And they would always come for these systems. And Ali, at that time, bro, Dalton was all there was, Ali, is carpet and then the flea market on the carpet, working at a carpet mill.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, everybody's busting their asses working 6-7 days a week, bro, you know? And then on the weekend, the only thing to have fun they had was to go to the Big D's flea market or the Red Bar. So guess
They go
what?
to the church first, and then they come to Joker's Audio
Correct.
second.
So they want to beat down the block at the flea market.
Yes.
So you remember, we would also sell electronics at the flea market. So people would, they would come and that's all they want. And then they'd see somebody, you know, beating down the block with this music there, whatever, you know, the music, ranchero music, bro. But
Ranchero music.
whatever floats their boat. You know what I mean? To me, it was, Ali, and it was like the exit. Because Dalton, you know, they had no clubs, nothing to enjoy music, you know, at the time. So people would put these big systems in their car. They would enjoy it. And, you know, the car clubs came. The car clubs started coming. The car shows started coming. The smaller groups started forming and becoming bigger and bigger groups. And then the hype was, who has the biggest system? Who has the nicest wheels? Who has nice decals on their cars? So these little, actually, it created its own business because of the hype.
So we basically created an industry. And it's funny now that we're looking back at it, you're thinking, okay, first you identified something that did not exist in the market, which was relatability when buying luxury items like electronics.
Correct.
And we were relatable because we were in the same high school classes and middle school classes as our customers. So they would come and buy from us after school, and we could sell them during school.
Yeah.
And then they come to the shop after. But then that led to, well, there's more customers that like this stuff because now the high school kids are almost like setting the cultural tone of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And so because those high school kids eventually go to college, they eventually work in places, by the time they get to Mohawk or Shaw or whatever after they graduate, because most people worked in carpet mills. Now, other people at the carpet mill is like, yo, what's that?
Yeah.
And we started putting Joker's Audio stickers
Correct.
on everyone's car. But you did something that was so brilliant when it came to putting decals on people's cars. Do you remember how much you sold those power acoustic mofos?
I remember after the amplifier, everything, the installation, the flip-down TV, the double-din radio, everything was $6,000.
That's a big sale.
Back then, Ali, it was amazing because I think we never went over 2,500, 2,800, 2,700. And that car sat with us for like 2 weeks to do this. You know what I mean? Because I wanted everything so perfect, you know? Like I literally took my time. And it was not even about, of course, the money's very important. But that specific deal, it wasn't really about the money.
It was pride in your work.
And proving that I can get you an extremely loud stereo system in this car. You see what I mean?
How important is it for you to keep pushing the limits in your business, keep trying to elevate to that next level?
Well, Ali, if you're not continuously improving, like something I studied in college, Six Sigma, you have to continuously improve every single day. If you're there, bro, let me tell you something. There's other people that are continuously improving every day and pushing the limits every single day, developing and creating new ideas. So if you're not creating new ideas, a perfect example was if you sit there, I heard this from you.
Yeah.
The biggest movie blockbuster, and this little guy named Netflix came along, took over within a week or two. Blockbusters all shut down, bankrupt. Why? Because they're pushing the limit. They know what clients want. They realized it. Actually, even before Blockbuster, who took Blockbuster out? The Red Box, if people remember, just because
Redbox, I think, sold for like $1 billion.
and it wasn't even all the movies. It was just more convenient. They go there, the convenience, you know what I mean? So yes, to keep pushing the limit is extremely important, because if you're not, somebody else is, and they're pushing you not to the limit, they're pushing you out of the game.
You want to know what's interesting about Netflix?
Okay.
So Netflix was not really making money by mailing DVDs and video games. They actually started with video games.
Okay.
And they would mail video games to people, and they would borrow them for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, however long, and they'd charge them a fee, and then they'd mail them back. But Netflix knew that that was not the end goal. The end goal was to get everyone onto the internet, and so that they can actually rent movies directly online. They just had to survive long enough in order for the technology to get to that level.
Correct.
Do you know what other company, one of the biggest companies in the world right now, that is applying the same exact Netflix blueprint, is not making that much money currently, and is waiting for technology to change in order for them to actually fulfill their long-term vision? Uber.
Okay.
Uber doesn't really make money by taking people from one place to another. There's not a lot of money in that. The real reason that Uber is growing and there's so much investment coming into it is because they're betting that self-driving cars will eventually happen. And once there's self-driving cars, ideally all electronic-based and hybrid, then you don't need the drivers anymore, because the two biggest costs of Uber are the drivers and then the insurance claims. So what Uber's doing right now is they strategically pay their drivers less money, and they've invested tens of millions of dollars to push personal injury lawyers out of the business. So they're behind a bill in Nevada right now to lower the contingency agreement for all lawyers to 20%. And they're part of the Georgia Senate bill that they're trying to change in Georgia right now that's going to lower the amount of money that you can get from car insurance claims. So Uber is playing defense because they have to survive long enough for self-driving cars to actually come into fruition. The problem with self-driving cars is there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of different players involved, and it's not as clear as Netflix's business strategy of going from mailing stuff to going online.
Wow.
So the reason Uber is a multi-billion dollar company is because they're betting on the technology. They're betting that the technology will eventually get to driverless cars. They have that now, but Google has that technology. Tesla has the technology. A lot of companies have that technology. So Uber will either have to manufacture their own cars, or they're going to have to license the Uber technology into the self-driving cars, and then that will eliminate all the Uber and Lyft drivers.
Game changer.
So that's technology. And but like there's still a lot of businesses that like you can still make a lot of money in business without having to go down the technology route.
Yeah.
You know, like clothing, for instance.
Yes.
I think people are always going to need clothes. I think people are always going to need food. I think people are always going to want the basic amenities in their house, like electricity, like water, like plumbing, like HVAC, like cleaning services. I think people are going to want to have the other services outside of the home, like the gutter cleaning, like the landscaping. Turns out the work that cannot be done by a machine yet, what we used to think were lower level services, are the services that are the most technology proof.
Yeah.
Because we're very far away from being able to send a robot to someone's house to fix a water leak.
Correct.
But we're already at the point where you can replace a $600,000 a year engineer that does web development or software development. So in Joker's Audio, I felt like for the longest time, we talked about it for like years and years and years. Oh, eventually technology is going to take over. Eventually technology is going to... But what ended up happening was, as new cars were coming out, new cars also didn't have all the technology built in. Sure, you'd get a brand new vehicle that has a nice monitor there, but people still wanted to upgrade their speaker. Sometimes they turn the speaker up and it'll blow. Yeah. Sometimes the tires that they get are an oddball size, and it makes more sense for them to upgrade for wheels and tires. So how are you able to keep the Joker's Audio business growing when it really isn't like it's going against the grain of technology? How are you able to keep the business growing all those years?
Well, it was extremely important to activate the feeling of the client. Okay. So the emotions. Okay. This makes you feel better. Why do people listen to music? Why do people like nice cars? You see what I mean? So not like, to put a better size tire in case they get a flat. It's very rare when you have these new wheels and tires that you're going to get flat unless an accident happens. But it wasn't really something that they did to get the correct size or something easier to get. It was more of a feeling, okay, to make them feel better, okay? Like you said, they have this BMW that doesn't have enough bass. So yeah, they add bass, they add speakers. Then the wraps came out. Okay, so not only are you gonna feel better, but at the same time, you're not taking away any of the value of the car. We're not changing the color. We are protecting the original paint with vinyl that's a different color.
So you actually adapted with the changes in technology.
Correct.
So, and that usually led to, because right now you're not selling in-dash flip-up monitors anymore. Like no one's buying those. But 15 years ago, people were buying those in-dash touchscreen monitors all the time. They used to buy those Pioneer screens that had like the 8,000 color display.
Yes.
And now people are like, no, I just want some flip down.
Or
flip
I
down
want my
some
car
headrest
to have
monitors.
Apple CarPlay. I want my car to have Android Auto.
Or I
So
want to wrap it a certain
I
color.
want to wrap it a certain color.
So you adapted.
Correct.
But you always kept the
Pushing.
relatability of clients at the forefront. As long as clients can relate and they enjoy the purchasing
That's right.
process,
That's right.
you'll never run out of business.
That's it. And it's always have to like, okay, you have a beautiful car. Like what else would you possibly want? But these little things, like on the dash, let's say the wood grain, that brown wood grain, and the car's sport car. Man, I want that carbon fiber. So the customization without ruining it, vinyl wrapping it, carbon fiber. We can match the wheels. We can match, or the black out the chrome. You see what I mean? So these little things and pushing and pushing and pushing the limits is what people want, man. This is what kept us in the game. And a lot of people like, okay, they sell wheels and tires and that's all they sell, wheels and tires, and they stick with one brand. Okay. The problem is they do that and new stuff comes out, but they're still stuck on the same 15, 16, 17. They don't want to go outside. They're uncomfortable with going outside. If you're comfortable in one place and that's all you want to sell, you're not growing, bro. To me. Okay. You have to put yourself in this uncomfortable situation to grow. Take a risk. You see what I mean? Take the risk to grow. While you're doing this, guess what's happening? Education is coming. You're learning. Okay, maybe this is not the one you want to take care of. While you took that risk, you take another risk. The vinyl wrap. Yeah, it's hard, but guess what? Now it's the biggest thing. It's the hottest thing. We were the first ones to do this. The vinyl wrapping the wheels instead of painting the wheels. Wrap the face of the wheel. I remember the first ones I did was a 24 Cool Whip.
I know, I did them.
Yeah, the Milani Cool Whips, exactly.
Oh, hey, y'all don't know. I was an OG. I was an OG in the Joker's audio
That
game.
is exactly what it was.
I know what it was.
The
bro.
Milani Cool Whips. I remember when that first happened. Bro, game changer. I was like, what is that?
I remember.
Why'd you change the wheels? Yeah.
So I remember I measured the thickness of the wheel. It was right under an inch.
Yep.
And bro, to this day, I can tell you like very precisely measurements of things just using my hand because I know my hand's exactly 9 inches when it's spread out. So I can go and measure a door and be like, yep, that's a 30-inch door. Yep, that's going to be, 80-inch tall. It's going to be this frame. And it's always on the money because I did so many of those stickers.
You know, Ali, another thing is the distributor of that wheel told me years after that, hey man, y'all remember when y'all did that? Y'all were the first ones that did that. Yeah. You could do that same thing to this, okay? So not only, like we didn't know, bro. We were just,
bro, you gotta make it work, bro.
We gotta make it work. You work with what you have. And you have to have a vision. The vision, Ali, people have visions. Man, I talk to so many people. This is what I want, this. But they don't want to do anything. They want to sit there. They just want to think, but they don't want to execute. Take the risk and move. And that's what we did, bro. I remember when Ali, we were in 5th Avenue selling. We're buying from a distributor. He's at our place selling us from a distributor. Well, guess what he says? He says, are y'all going to the show? Are you going to the show? And I'm like, I'm right here. I'm the first one in line. Ali's in the back. Brahim's standing there. Osam is there. And Bob is there. Bob, my dad's paying. And he says, I said, oh, my dad asked him, what show? CES show. It's called the Consumer Electronics Show of Las Vegas. So I'm talking to him, and we're so small, we have no clue what this is. Well, I look back, and I's already on the computer, already reading everything about CES and everything, and yeah, this is the distributor, this. I'll give it 6-7 minutes. He's like, yeah, we're going. I was like, yeah, we're going. Baba, nobody knows. I says, yeah, we're going. So Ali had the credit card numbers of all of Baba's credit card numbers memorized, okay?
Actually,
he did not have to ask for a credit card, okay? So Ali's already purchasing tickets to now listen, this is
2004.
Like, yeah, and we're going to the CES now. That was the biggest move, the biggest play of the whole Joker's audio wheel zone. Everything that we did has to do with wheels and tires or electronics. That night is what changed the whole game.
And why do you think it was?
Because we took a risk. You took a risk to buy those. We took a risk to go out into the real game. This is the manufacturers come from China, from all over the world, and go to this show. It's called the Consumer Electronics Show, CES. It's every year in the beginning of the year. Ali purchased the tickets for all of us, hotel rooms and accommodations and everything.
You remember what hotel we stayed at?
The Tahiti Village.
The Tahiti Village.
I remember because you cannot forget this. This is what changed. This is like what molded and the foundation for the next 20 years in the game. Once we did this, it wasn't the same. That was, instead of buying $10,000, $15,000 from this guy that we were buying from, 2-3 years later, we were selling merchandise to him because we went directly to where he buys from. And not only that, because we're aggressive and we are about it. And there's 4 brothers. We were buying more than he was within a few years because we were moving the merchandise.
He started buying from us.
He started buying from us. The guy that night that told us, "Are you going to the show?" 3 years after that was buying from us.
This is why it's so important to pay attention. You have to listen proactively when you're buying from someone or there's someone in a higher position of power. They will eventually give you a piece of information that will be worth its weight in gold. In 2004, we were buying electronics from a local distributor. And if you're not aware, pretty much in every industry, there's retail at the bottom, then there's wholesale above that, then there's distributors above that, then there's manufacturers above that. Now, this, when you think about the term vertical integration, vertical integration means the manufacturer is also the distributor, is also the wholesaler, is also the retailer.
Yes.
But there's actually something better than manufacturer. It's clearance.
Oh my God, that's another world.
When you're at a clearance level, now you're using the power of the purse, your ability to spend money to buy at a better price than what it costs to actually make it.
Yes.
And in any industry that you go into, closeout and clearance, in any industry that you go into, and by the way, you had a rule of, hey, you should always have this much inventory of clearance.
Yes.
You remember what that percentage was?
If I'm not mistaken, 50%?
30%.
30%.
So 30%. So clearance level and closeout prices are better than manufacturer direct prices, but you're not going to be able to unlock that level unless you have the ability to spend a lot of money. In 2004, we learned from one of our warehouse wholesalers that he was going to a show. And we acted like, oh yeah, sure, we're going to the show because I'm in the back of the computer researching it and figuring it out. That show happened to be the place where all the manufacturers and distributors met. So we, up until that point, were only buying from wholesalers. We had never bought from distributors.
Never heard of closeout. We didn't know what that means.
In fact, we were trying to find distributors by going to other stereo shops and looking through their garbage and the boxes that were outside of their shops to see where they were buying from. And by the way, we learned that probably the hard way because other people started copying what we were doing and what we were buying. And that's when we realized you have to be vertically integrated. And the reason we ended up going to the CES show was to see what else is out there. We spent the very last dollar we had to go to this show, but it unlocked this new level in business. Now we had access to distributors, now we had access to wholesalers, and it led to the point where we actually bought an entire company from China, the whole kit and caboodle, and we bought it at closeout prices. We bought an entire car audio company for $100,000, and it had millions of dollars of hard cost inventory for manufacturing. And had it not been for us taking the risk and going to a show that was outside of our comfort zone and spending all that money and actively listening to people that were around us, it never would have led to that opportunity. That opportunity, which was Elf Audio, paid for my entire college, my law school, and funded everything in our entire family because it was one thing that led to another in taking that.
Putting ourselves in this uncomfortable situation. Just going back quickly about closeouts. A lot of people don't realize what that means. So, for example, a company makes 10,000 speakers a year. Okay, they sell 5,000 of them. And then the next year, the new model comes out. There's 5,000 left of that model. These are still brand new in the box, but now the new model has come out. Okay, so instead of selling the old model, they will sell those 5,000 pieces at a closeout price. To manufacture this subwoofer speakers, $50. But now we're at closeout, so it drops the cost even lower than to produce it. So in China, $50 is what it costs, but you're buying it here in the US, ready-made, everything, just because it's a year older, still new, everything is good, for $20, $25. So now the margins have changed. The whole game has changed. You see, so
you can now sell at what the price of what other people are buying for.
Correct.
And we actually learned that with the Kicker L7 subwoofers. You remember those?
Of course I remember those. Of course. You bid. I remember that's a whole nother, you see all these uncomfortable situations that we put ourselves in. Alhamdulillah, we made a huge difference in a huge success. Now, I'm not saying that everything was a success. We have had failures, but the point is we never stopped trying. We've had times where we lost so much money, but we kept going. And the more shots you shoot, the more likely you will score. If you don't shoot at all, you're not going to score. So yes, there was a lot of mistakes made, but we learn from these mistakes, put ourselves in these uncomfortable situations, and we buy and we learn. When we buy, the price is just $125 for a specific thing. We realize, okay, it takes this long to sell this product at 125. When we buy it at 125, it takes us 2 months to sell it. When you buy it at 110, that profit, you're selling it, you could drop your price a little bit, it sells for a month. Once you do these and keep doing the same thing over and over again, you find your sweet spot. And you realize that, hey, I need these at this price and I can move them this fast and have the money. So now you can float your money, get terms, and buy 200, 300, 400 pieces of a specific item for that price and let them know in 30 days you will get paid because you've already done the math. You've already been there, done that. You never used your money, but because you're not scared to go, you learned, you have built the guts to do it. And this is how it works. So,
it's also like if you want to apply that to something people can do today.
Correct.
Let's say it's the end of the year and the dealership wants to sell all of their previous year's inventory. So in the end of the 2025 year, the dealership wants to try to get rid of all of their 2025 models because the 2026s are starting to come in.
Correct.
But if they still have a 2024 model on the dealership floor, they're willing to liquidate that one. In fact, it's probably the manager car, the one that they're just using as the daily, or it's the loaner car. And that's the one that you're going to get the best possible deal on. They will sell it to you for cheaper than it costs to manufacture it because they know that the longer they hold on to it,
The value
the less it is worth.
Correct.
And so I apply this sort of clearance buying to a lot of things in my life. Whether it's clothes or cars or houses or whatever, I like to be a clearance buyer because I know if I buy it cheap enough, no matter what happens, I'll be able to get out of it
You'll be in the
and
green.
break even,
You'll be in the
or
green.
I'll be able to make money. But then you took it to another level with real estate investing.
Yes.
Talk to us about your real estate investing philosophy.
I love real estate investing. I love real estate. So this is another game changer. So it started with having a store in a mall. I had the store for 15 years and I learned a lot. I learned about inventory, organizational effectiveness, how to display the merchandise and all of this. So after 15 years, something happened in the mall we were in and we had to move out. So we've been here 15 years. I never thought this would ever happen. Why would the mall have to move out? Anyway, we moved out. So I was like, I will never rent again because the amount of money that I paid is actually a mortgage payment. So I calculated it. So I got lucky and found a building and spoke to the owner. The key was in the game that I got this building owner financed at 0% interest. Now, people don't understand. Everybody's so used to paying interest in the United States. All you have to do is talk. So let's say, for example, the price is $500,000. Hey, I don't want to pay any interest, but I'm willing to give you $600,000, okay, because I know you need the money. Extend it a few more years. So let's say a mortgage payment is $2,500. I'm going to give you $3,000 a month on this building for this much time, but let's lock it in. This was the game changer from the audio wheels and tires to going into real estate. So the key was owner finance, 0% interest. So the way we knocked out the owner finances the owner, he owns the building. I'm buying directly from him. And yes, give him a down payment without using a bank. So interest kills you. Interest takes all your profit away. So you add a little bit more. Yes, it's going to be another year of making payments, but the good thing is it's much less than interest. And over time, you're paying a little bit more than a normal mortgage payment. But guess what's going to happen? One day you will own that building. So the same thing, you're going to pay rent in a specific spot, $2,500, add another $1,000, make it $3,500. But 5 years, 6 years, 10 years after doing that, you will own that building. You're going to be in the building anyway. You have a very good location. You found the location. You found the people to work there. You found the inventory. Everything's ready. Everything is set up. Okay. Before you know it, in any business, 1 year, 2, 3, 4 years pass by. So instead of renting, why not structure it and have the correct foundation in the beginning to own the building? And once I learned that with my first building, it was a home run, because then I bought 4, 5, 6, 7 buildings after that under the same exact layout, exact foundation, owner finance, 0% interest, add a year or 2 more years to pay on the building, and add a little bit, when you add the time, more time, of course, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it's much less than interest and you're not pressured.
How can people find a good real estate deal?
Okay, so
What are the things you look for in a good real estate deal?
the first thing I look for is it's owned by a specific person,
For sale by owner.
for sale by owner.
So do you recommend people going through realtors and brokers?
If it's not a bad idea if you can get it for sale by owner. From wherever it's coming from, that building is for sale by owner. A lot of real estate agents don't want you to speak to the owner. They want to stay in the middle. And if you can
They
build,
can earn their commission.
of course, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have absolutely nothing against it. Everybody has to get paid. But at the same time, you have to build that trust and let them know, hey, I want to buy this owner finance, so I don't mind you getting your cut and being the first one to get your cut. But I need to meet the owner and set up a deal in such a way that I can actually afford it. So it is extremely important to owner finance, for sale by owner, number one. Number two would be the interest. Get interest out of the way. Thank God we're Muslim. We don't deal with interest at all. So yeah, credit cards and stuff like that, there's a little percentages, but it's so bad. Interest kills anybody. All your profit is being paid in interest. So if you can stay away from interest, you will win.
For sale by owner.
0%
0%
interest, extension, and that's it. And just work the numbers in such a way that you're able to pay it. That's it. Because you're going to be there anyway. The business is there. I don't care if you're selling smoothies. I don't care if you're selling shoes. I don't care if you're selling anything you're selling, or a barber shop. Okay? If you're going to be there and you're going to pay $2,000 a month in rent, pay $3,000 a month in actual purchasing it. And then you do the math. What is it? 5, 6, 10 years. You're going to be there anyway. Before you know it, I'm telling you, I was in a store in a mall for 15 years. Whoever thought? 15 years. The contract was set up in such a way, year to year. It was not a 5-year contract, a 10-year, but that's how fast time goes by. And if I had just put $1,000 a month more than what I was paying in that mall, in another building, I would have never been in the situation to move out. I would have owned that building.
But don't you think that the foot traffic inside the mall was a big part of the reason why we were successful?
Of course. Yes, of course. 100%. The traffic is extremely important. But you can also get traffic. More important than the traffic is it built the name. It made people more familiar with it. And not only did people become more familiar, people who never thought they would purchase rims, tires, and stuff like that, older people, never ever thought they would put rims and tires. When they saw that there was an option and the actual price was not that much, yes, it helped tremendously. But the mistake was while I was in the mall for the 15 years, that's all I was doing. I should have been, when I was in the mall, I should have had another building parallel at the same time, so that way I would have something to stand on instead of just leave. God blessed me, and I got lucky and found a building, 0% interest owner finance. But those 15 years, there was a bunch of possibilities and opportunities. I was not ready, and I didn't have the education to be able to do what I did after. So, like I said, for sale by owner, owner financed, and you make it in such a way where you can afford the payments, and there is no penalty if it's paid 10, 15 days, maybe later from the payment date, as long as it's paid off within the 5, 6 years, and give yourself buffer so that way you can pay it off. So after applying this within, I would say, 5 years out of moving out of the mall, I owned 5 different buildings, nice buildings on one street.
You've developed a unique sales strategy over the years.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to give people like the high level things that you've learned from making tens of thousands of sales in so many different industries to so many different customers, what are the most important things in a good salesman?
Number one is honesty. Honesty and being able to understand your client. You must understand your client. You must understand their needs and relate to them how you're creating value. Why are you more valuable? Now, you cannot explain to a client your value if you don't know what their needs are. You have to know exactly what their needs are. You have to exactly solve their needs. Okay. Once you figure out their needs, if it's just, hey, I just want my car to sound better. I want this, this, this. If you can solve all these and be 100% honest, the sky is the limit. There's really nothing more than that. Understand your client, honesty, number one, and understanding your client and being able to give the client, deliver exactly what they are looking for. And what I like to do, Ali, once I do all those three things, I like the little cherry on top. I'm speaking to the client. Let me see if I understand you correctly. So A, B, and C are your main concerns, correct? This is exactly what I want. Is there anything else? No. A, B, and C. Okay, this is your option. I can take care of A, B, and C. And this is the breakdown. And my understanding is my competitor can solve these problems, maybe can solve these problems for this price. I can guarantee you A, B, and C can be solved for a much better price. And not only that, here's the cherry on top. Okay. So transparency and being able to deliver is a home run.
So you like to give first relatability with the client, making sure that you understand their exact needs. Second, reiterating the needs that the client says that they have.
You have to.
Third, delivering on all of those needs, but also giving them a little cherry on top.
Must. Because good.
That's the formula.
Because good. Okay, A, B, and C, you're solving the problem. That's good. But for me, good is not good enough. Okay? Because that's good. A, B, and C, that's what they came for. But I'm an expert at what I do. I'm not good. I'm an expert. You came to me, you wanted A, B, and C. You didn't know there was D, E, F. I know because that's my job. I'm an expert at what I do. So you come, all you want is good. But guess what? I'm going to solve that.
So how do you deal with clients that are very price focused? They just come in and say, "Hey, I found this for this price. Can you beat it?" That's how they start the conversation.
Like I said, number one is to be honest. Okay. A lot of people, I've dealt with a lot of people that, Ali, especially with the internet, it makes it very, very, very hard to do business. So by being honest, it's like, hey man, that price is an awesome price. I cannot touch it. But what you can do is purchase this merchandise and we will be more than happy to install it. Just understand there's no warranty. Now, let's break it down. Let's say, for example, this 12-inch subwoofer, JL subwoofer that you are buying for $399, I'm selling in my store for $450. Yes, it's cheaper online, but let's break it down and see the schematics. Let's see how this is built. Let's see the rating on the subwoofer. This is a 1200 watt subwoofer. This has a 60-ounce magnet. This is for a closed enclosure. Okay, well, guess what? I have a brand called Digital Design right here in the store. The specifications on both speakers are exactly the same. I can give you this one at $299, $279 with a in-store warranty. The exact same schematics, same everything. We can do it today and a warranty. So you have to explain. Once you understand what the client is looking for, okay, then with the knowledge that you have, you can fulfill that client's needs and give them more, helping them out with a better price because they're price driven. But if they get the exact same thing that they are looking for and you add the warranty and the speedy delivery, and not only the speedy delivery is you don't have to wait. You come here to replace it. You don't have to ship it off online or this or that. It's a much easier way.
Do you think customers care more about price or value?
Well, most people, Ali, come for the price. Not a lot of people that I've dealt with understand. Everybody's really price driven, but when you break it down, it is up to the salesman to explain and break it down and show the client the value. Okay?
So people are going to naturally come in for price, but it's your job to explain the value.
Exactly. 100%. Because they don't understand a lot of people don't understand the value. You know what I mean? It's your job because the price is all they care about. Okay. So yeah, some do know about the value, but do you really know the value? Okay. They don't really know the value. It is the salesman's job to explain exactly the value and compare. Once you explain it, it should be a home run. It should not be an issue for the client to be on your side and purchase from you or to make a deal or sign a contract. So like I said, the price is important, but if you explain the value in a way that they understand and compared to what they think the value is.
You were the second child in the family. So there's 4 boys, 2 girls. You were the second in the family. Do you feel like your position in the family gave you an advantage or a disadvantage when it came to growing up in a family of 6?
An advantage in which way?
sometimes they say I was more leaning towards disadvantages because I feel like middle children usually don't get as much attention.
Oh, that's
You
true.
know?
The big one's always the one that gets the attention.
Yeah.
I got to use diapers.
Yeah. It's like when you're returning stuff to Walmart, you're like, these diapers already had shit in them.
Yeah.
So, do you think that you had to overcompensate because you weren't the oldest kid? You had to overcompensate to show your value to the family? Is that part of the reason why you were
Well,
so sales driven and you
Well,
were
Ali,
always doing
Ali, to
business?
be honest with you, bro, yes, if I said no, I would be lying, but it's not a high percentage. I just loved it. I loved it, okay? And then what I loved even more, Ali, is to see my brothers love it. And then it became like, who's the best at doing this? Okay? So it was awesome, but we picked something that we all loved. Same thing with karate. Okay? We loved karate. We had a common denominator. We had something that we all loved. Okay? And then we all helped each other be the best and we pushed each other to the limit. Okay? So me and Osama would install radios. I remember this exactly. Osama, I don't think that's the power. No, that's the power. This is before a light tester, Ali. All you need is a damn light tester.
Yeah.
I don't know, Osama. I don't think that's. I'm telling you, you're gonna hit that wire. That shit's gonna smoke. Nah, bro, that's the wire. Smoke. You know how many radios? The performance technique radio. I told you that's not the. You know what I mean? And vice versa. But we push each other, and then guess what? We knew that wire is not the power. That's the power, not that wire. So I picked something that I loved, number one, and then realized that it's something all my brothers loved. And because we all loved it, bro, we kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it to the limits. You know what I mean? And a lot of people saw that, and it not only was the ride enjoyable, the success. Everybody says success, the journey, the path. Everybody says success. It's not a destination. It's not a destination. It's a journey. It's the process. The journey was a success every day. Enjoying what you do. Some days we didn't make money. Some days we lost a shit ton of money.
Yeah, it
But
happens.
guess what? It was successful every day because we loved what we were doing. We were all together and we pushed it to the limits.
Who do you think was the main salesperson in Joker's Audio?
If I'm not included in that, it would definitely be you.
So, what do you think was Baba's position in the company? Because basically, my dad and then four brothers, we had a car audio and automotive electronic business for about 15 years where we worked together. We didn't have any formal titles. Whatever we wanted to put on the business card for that day
right.
is what the title was. But what would you say Baba's position was in that company?
Well, Ali, to be honest with you, day-to-day operations like sales, stuff like that, Baba's not really involved in. Baba, I need the rent paid. Baba, I need this order taken care
So
of.
he was more like business operations.
He's the control. He controlled the money so we don't go crazy. But when it came to purchasing or figuring out what to sell, how to sell it, how to display it, that was up to us. Now, this is the main thing that Baba did and nobody could. He was second to none. He had a vision. So, for example, Ali, in every one of the stores, when we built the store, he had a vision in the floor to make a Joker's Audio logo that was second to none, or in marble, cutting it out on water jet.
Yeah.
How the hell am I gonna do that?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So that right there, he's a mechanical engineer.
He
This.
had that engineering background. He had the vision.
And the vision. So okay, that's why everybody had a specific thing, but his vision was second to none. Okay, yeah, we can think of it, but how the hell are we gonna do it? You know what I mean? He knew exactly how to do it. Okay, so when it became to the creativity. I remember when we bought the Elf Audio deal, we wanted to display this merchandise in such a way that people were like, holy mollies, this is amazing. So how did we do that? My dad built a 10-foot round box that doesn't fit a semi-truck. It does not fit anything, but it was a display that had, I think, 30 10-inch Elf Audio speakers and a 15-inch in the middle. It took like a month to build this. We had an awesome construction guy, carpenter that built it, and that brought in so much attention because why would you do that? What is that used for?
Baba was like the big thinker.
Yes,
You know,
something that
he
like
knew that
overkill,
as
but
long as he
you know.
gave us the big picture idea,
Yeah.
then we could execute on it. It's like, look, here's the big idea. We're gonna have this entire display
Yes.
built so everyone knows Elf Audio is the real deal. We're gonna have a custom display on the ground so that no one else, when they walk into the shop, no one else is gonna see a custom designed logo in the ground. And it's gonna be done with marble. I got this guy that has a water jet company and he's gonna customize the floor. So Baba was like the visionary.
And Ali, he stuck to it. Like he would finish the thing because he loved the same thing that we loved, the sales, buying the parts. He loved finishing missions like this, and he would always finish them. I remember there was times like, man, why is this taking so long? Why? Screw this. Like, bro, just put normal tiles in the floor. You know what I mean? But he
Yeah.
would stick to it, even when it got so boring. You know what I mean? So for me to do something like that, I'd be like, nah, man, screw this shit. Just put some normal tiles. Let's make it look clean. Then boom, boom, in and out. He would stick to it no matter how long it took and made sure that it got done. So I don't think anybody, maybe Ibrahim has that much patience, but I don't think anybody has that much patience and was able to do what Baba did in that specific thing.
So Baba was like the CEO visionary.
Correct.
What was Brahim's role in the company, in the family business?
Well, Ibrahim was an excellent salesman, okay? But he would take every second available to break it down and to explain. He was not an aggressive salesman. Ibrahim became more aggressive. But I remember growing up together, Ibrahim was a perfectionist at explaining to the client, okay? He didn't care really about the emotions. He was more by the book. This is the breakdown. Well, let's compare. You know what I mean? Well, let's see. Okay, so you're saying this. Let's go to the statistics. Let's go exactly to the numbers and break it down. So the more educated client would love
Oh yeah.
Ibrahim. Okay, the more educated ones. Okay, why? Because holy shit, this guy right here really broke it down in such a way that you know what I mean? The math, the second to none.
So what about Brahim's position or title? What would you have called it? I'm asking these questions to everyone so we could kind of share the family dynamic, so people get an idea of kind of where everyone was in the family business as we were growing up.
Ali Ibrahim would be, to me, you label it however you want to explain it to you. It's that customer that comes in that knows, that thinks they know too much, or you know what I mean? And it's hard to get the point across that, hey, my friend, this is, so kind of we're more of a straight to the point, boom, boom. So Ibrahim is the patient one that will sit down and break it down, and it doesn't matter if it takes a year to sit there with a client and break it down, because it's not even a point.
So he's like the educator.
The educator, 100%.
So what would you say your title was?
Ali, I could relate. That was the one thing that I did really well. I believe that I could relate with the clients really, really well. I could, I understand where they're coming from, so that's how I made more profit, because I knew that all they wanted is a lot of base. Okay.
So like director of sales.
Correct. So I know, okay, so you really don't need 415s, my friend. You need 212s good, and you're going to get this. And guess what? Because I knew how, and I understood my client, I can guarantee you, if what I'm telling you to purchase is not to your standards or what you want, you don't owe us a penny. I had that confidence because I understood exactly what my client wanted.
So, okay, what do you think my position was?
I think you had a little bit of everybody. Okay. So you had a little bit of everybody. So you had the education, definitely. You had the relatability, definitely. And you knew how to maximize the profit, which Osama is really the best one.
Do you think it was online sales?
Oh, online sales, of course. You have the crown with that, because nobody touched that like you did. And going outside the box, Ali, and figuring out exactly, like, instead of buying 1, 2, 3, 4 amplifiers, you were the first one to buy, I think, 100 at one time. And the reason was, I thought it was crazy, but you knew exactly who, like we said earlier, you knew your margins. If I get this amp like this, I know in 30 days.
Well, I knew how to sell.
Yeah. But
I knew how to sell online.
That's it. So you were the first one to learn that and teach everybody about it. Nobody knew anything about that. When Ali, the whole online thing, bro, the websites we were getting this from, no, I didn't even, I remember when I heard you bid, I never knew how to spell that or exactly how it's spelled. I just said, okay, I know Ali took care of this. I know by the end of the week, there's going to be 40 Kicker L7s right here in Chrome, and this is exactly how I want them displayed. You know what I mean? This is my job. I know how
I'd get them in and we'd sell them.
That's it. I don't give a damn about anything else. All I cared about is I know by the end of that week, Ali was going to have them subwoofers there. My job is to display them, and me and Osama is to make the maximum amount of money as possible before Ali sells them online fast. Okay, so I had to have everything set up. I said the speakers would come in a week, give it 2 weeks. Ali would be packaging them and shipping them right back out the door. So yeah, the margins were smaller when you're selling online,
but it was unlimited.
That is correct. That is correct.
What I realized in the 90s and the 2000s was people didn't really know the internet. And so people didn't know all the websites that existed.
That's right.
Google was not even the main search engine. It was Yahoo.
Yep.
And so the internet was very early on.
Yeah.
So I just started, going online, checking out different websites, and I found this company called Ubid,
Yeah.
where it was an auction site that would sell refurbished products, used products, and clearance items. And one of the most coveted speaker brands that we could get was the Kicker L7. This was
Bro.
a subwoofer that if you were to buy it wholesale, it was $250 to $300.
Yes.
And I remember getting them for $74 a piece
I remember.
with free shipping. And I'm like,
No, well, I remember when this happened. No, I didn't believe it. I remember I did not say, this is a scam. There's no way. There's no way. But I remember like not long after that, you put in an order and they showed up. Bro, it's like, wallah, it's like diamonds. We're looking at.
I mean,
we
and
just
these
can't
were
believe it.
expensive.
Yeah, but we
So
couldn't believe it.
this kind of really accelerated our business
Mhm.
because now nothing could compete with this
Mhm.
brand.
No.
So Kicker was up there with like JL. It was one of the best known brands, but it was one of the best brand speakers that you could get.
Yeah.
And we were able to sell them for cheaper than what everyone else could buy them
Mhm.
for. And it just
Unlimited amount.
it stifled
Yeah.
the market. Everyone was like, every competitor that was selling car audio could not compete because we figured out how to buy the same exact merchandise for 60, 70% cheaper, where we could sell it for cheaper than what they were buying it for. And if we didn't sell it in the store, it was enough just to prove to everyone in town that our prices are better than everyone. And even if you don't buy, I'm still going to sell them online.
Well, hang on. It's not even that, Ali. For me, is okay, so you have to remember this is a luxury product. When you walk in and you want to buy a watch at a specific watch dealer, you walk in and they have 100 beautiful damn watches. Then you go to another one that has 3 or 4. Which one are you gonna buy from? You
Yeah,
tell me.
exactly.
You tell me.
The
So when you
selection.
walk in and you see more Kicker subwoofers than Walmart has in stock, or the wholesaler has in stock, like I said, when that box came in and we opened them up and started displaying them, I just wanted to look at them every day. I just wanted to look at it because that was like something that you don't see. Wholesalers don't carry that many. And you walk in and there's like the floor is covered in a line. It was beautiful to me. You look at it, I love this. I love looking at you. So it was fun. And for me, like you said, just buying it and selling it online for the money, it was not that much fun for me because like we didn't control the money.
Oh, no, I loved it.
I know you loved it as you
No,
saw
dude,
it. but
I loved it.
you
I
know,
loved
I
buying
love
and selling
just
online.
putting them in a car and seeing the client like, oh my God, I love this. And then having the hype man in the background like, oh shit, hey, be careful, don't blow the windows out. That part of it I loved. And yeah, it made money, a lot of money, but it wasn't like Ali was doing, having 20, 30 customers a day. I'd have 2 or 3 customers a day.
But that was just the beginning.
Yeah.
So when we first started buying these refurbished subwoofers, clearance subwoofers, it led to buying bulk electronics from our local distributors, and then it led to buying a manufacturer, and
Yep.
then it led to Vossen wheels. Like we started realizing if you can
Wow.
get a high level name brand product
Mhm.
and you can buy it at liquidation prices, you will make money. And we did that with so many big brands because no one else was a 12, 15-year-old kid putting $50,000 orders in.
Yep.
And I wasn't scared because I knew by the time they arrived, I already had most of them sold.
Correct. That was the key, floating the money and also getting terms. So when you find that margin, like my brother just said, Ali, when you said knowing that we're going to get an awesome deal on this name brand,
Oh, yeah.
okay? When you get this awesome deal on that name brand, we can put in an order. Normal people get a pallet. Okay, well, give me 10 pallets of this. I remember when we ordered Audioban amplifiers, and I remember Kelly Vickers was like, and there was another guy, Mike Alexander.
Mike Alexander.
He's like, there's no way this guy's going to handle 200 amp. Now, these amplifiers, take in mind, are this big, okay? Chrome amps.
So there was different models. It was the Audioban. So the biggest one was the A2300 HCT, and then the older model was the A2300 HCQ.
Yep.
Then they had the A2200 HCT and HCQ, but then they had the Class D amplifiers. That was the A1800 DT, A1200 DT.
Horizontal.
But these amplifiers, if you were to buy them directly from the distributor, they would be like $600, $700 a piece. Well, at clearance prices, they were like $200.
Closeout.
And I saw that on eBay, they were still selling for those prices. So I started posting them on eBay to see what people are willing to pay for them.
Before we even had them.
Before I even had them. And so people were buying these amplifiers on eBay before I even bought them. And that's why we were able to say, literally at the age of 14, 15, I will buy all of your available inventory, send all of them. And this was probably a $200,000 order at the time.
I remember.
But it didn't matter because within a few months, I had all of them sold.
Thank God The guy we were dealing with trusted us and gave us terms. So by the terms means that you get the merchandise and you have 30 days, 45 days, 90. We had 30 days to pay for it. I promise you within 2 weeks, half, 15 days, he had all the money to pay for it. We still had some amplifiers left. And all I wanted was to see him. Ali would move him so fast, I can't enjoy just looking at it. You know what I mean? So that's the key. Learning, the market, learning your client. Like I said, you knew that these people are going to pay this much for them. All I need is to satisfy their needs.
So, dude, I know I could talk about this all day because I just loved sales and I left online sales. But I was talking to Osama on the pod, and what happened was when I was buying and selling online, what I was learning was a skill called arbitrage.
Mhm.
It's the knowledge arbitrage. I know something that you don't know, and I can sell the difference in knowledge that you don't have. And that could be from where I can buy it or how I can sell it or the quality of the product
That's
or
right.
the source that I have
Mhm.
something. But I also learned how to market products online. I learned that when you put a post on eBay, if you used all capital letters, it's going to take up more space and people are more likely to click on it. I also learned that if you do a no auction, zero reserve
Reserve.
auction,
Yes.
first eBay would promote it more
Mhm.
because they wanted people to bid,
Of
more
course.
activity.
Yeah, it's going to sell regardless.
But the traffic flow allowed people to actually spend more money on that than they would for just the regular auctions
Buy it
because
now.
it's fun for them to bid. I also learned that when you set up the auction itself, if it looked too professional, people wouldn't buy
Yeah.
because it looked like it's coming from a big
Big
company.
company,
But
correct.
if you set it up just professional enough with the nice photos and a basic description,
Yeah.
drove a lot of people. That's called copywriting. So I learned digital marketing and copywriting and scripting and online sales. And that's why my law firm is so digital driven. It was with Snapchat in 2011, 2012 that I started incorporating video sales. So I was doing all of this in the 90s and the 2000s with no digital camera, basic internet, the basic resources. But then when Snapchat came in, it was like, oh, now we have this new addition
Game
to it.
changer. Game
And
changer.
then I added it with Instagram, and then I did it with Facebook and TikTok and everything else. And now we're at the AI level. Now it's a matter of how can you leverage AI in your business in order to maximize the profit and increase the size of the company,
Mhm.
increase revenue. And this is something that I have to learn because I'm always looking at what's coming around the corner. But sometimes sometimes you just need to make that $20,000 sale and just, have a stack of hundreds. It's just, there's
Yeah.
nothing
Makes
like
you
it.
feel good, doesn't it?
Like, it's cool to see money in account, but like digital currency just doesn't
Ah,
feel the
not
same as
same.
the
No,
interpersonal connection,
I agree. I agree. I like
And,
to
and
feel it, have it in your pocket,
yeah, man, I like
Go
talking
go
to
buy
people.
something you really don't need.
Hell yeah, bro.
Just
So,
spend a little money.
all
Yeah.
right, dude, we got some rapid fire questions
Let's
for you
go.
to finish off. You have one daughter now, Maya,
Alhamdulillah.
mashallah.
Yeah, that's my life. Maya, she's 7.
How's fatherhood changed you?
Ali, it definitely made me slow down, to a certain degree, listen and appreciate my parents, my mom and my dad a lot. I said, yeah, you can appreciate your parents, but you really don't know the real struggle and appreciation they really deserve until you have a daughter or a son. And, like, alhamdulillah, my daughter Hala is living wonderful, alhamdulillah. But compared, because I have the basic necessities and stuff to be able to take care of and do what I need to do to make sure she's happy. But at the same time, when you still give your son and daughter the basic necessities when you're really not able to, but you just rip it out of the world to give it to them,
Yeah.
you really appreciate what Baba, my dad, and my mom went through with nothing to make something, you see? So, yes, it slowed me down, made me evaluate and calculate every situation compared as before. Let's just go. Khalas, it's okay. What's gonna. So, alhamdulillah, a little bit more calculated, calm, patient. Definitely the patience came through. And to, give people more like the benefit of the doubt. So, she has a great relationship, yani, with her uncles and aunts
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So it's different, at first it's scared, everybody's scared to have, I have a daughter,
Do you want
But
more children?
of course I want more children.
Yeah.
When I see my daughter, like my brother was saying, I love to see $20,000 in cash, them $100 bills. They just hit different. But when I see my daughter, man, happy, it has nothing to do with money. Go playing in the park and stuff like that. It's like,
Rapid fire question. What is the funniest memory from our childhood that you still laugh about?
well, I mean, this just came up. I remember, I think it's on video somewhere. Because I can't remember. We were at the 618 Fifth Avenue house, and I remember the seating, and you and Osama, I think you were speaking another language or something. And he's not understanding what you're explaining to him, and you're trying to explain it in another language, and everything is by the script. Okay, it's like exactly what happened, and then and we're all calm and we're laughing. Next thing I know, you stand up and you slap the shit out of Osama. Like, what the hell? That's not part of
I was so into the character.
bro. But it wasn't part of it. It was like, I remember y'all got in a fight after that. Yeah, Sam's a big boy. Sam's big. He was always, Sam was
Yeah.
always, but it was just like,
Actually, I'll tell you what it actually was.
what was it?
Okay, so I'm not proud of this, but when I was like maybe 8 or 9 years old, we had this deaf guy that was
That's
in our
exactly what it
community.
was. Yes.
And the deaf
yes.
guy, the deaf people obviously usually can't speak as well because they can't hear what they're saying, and so they make sounds that sound like words. And my brother and I decided to do a script about like how this deaf guy wanted to buy something from the store, and we weren't able to sell him anything. And so my brother Osama was the salesperson, and I was the deaf guy coming in as the customer.
That's exactly what it
And
was.
I'm not going to imitate just because now it's inappropriate at this age, but I'm talking to him in this different language and making these sounds, and we're recording this. I think we still have the
Yeah.
video of it. And every time I would tell him something, he's like, "I'm sorry, I don't understand." He's like, "I don't understand." And finally, I just smacked him. Like, why don't you understand? This was a childhood memory
Oh
that we
my
all
God.
remember because I was so into the character, and I always liked entertaining people. I always liked making people laugh, and that was one of those things I was like, this character is going to make everyone in the house laugh.
Because everybody knew him. He was a
Everyone
client that
knew
would
him.
come all the time,
Yeah.
and it was a great, man. But I remember it's still stuck. Ali, that was 25 years ago, bro.
Yeah, no,
That was
I
25 years
remember
ago, at least.
it. Okay, next question. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received from Baba?
The best piece of advice that I've ever received from Baba is, okay, and I remember this. I remember exactly. This was in 96. I remember it was at the Olympics. And I remember that. He was talking to all of us, but that was the piece of advice that really stuck in my head. It's like, if you have an opportunity, I said, you don't come across a bunch of opportunities. You come across an opportunity and you do well, you stick to it, you grab it, and you don't let it go. So, like I said, with the wheels, the tires, I knew I was the best. Knew the audio, so I really, really love it. Alhamdulillah, as a salesman, it doesn't matter what you play, I love it, so I really enjoy it, so I don't let go of these kind of positions, even though I'm working, different with consulting, my consulting firm. It still has to do with sales and relatability and stuff like that, so it's all in the same kind of field.
We don't get to talk about Mama enough, because I feel like the boys were raised by Baba, and we spent so much of our upbringing around Baba and learning everything from him. But what is the best piece of advice you've ever learned from Mama?
The best piece of advice that I have learned from Mama: put your pride to the side. Put your ego to the side. Okay? When there's an issue or a problem or anything like that, take your pride, your ego, put it to the side and deal with people normal without that pride and big ego and everything. So it's crazy because I remember this from a long time ago. I had an issue. It's like, man, but I know who I am. I know that's the problem. Take that pride and ego and throw it out the window. Then come back, talk like a normal person. So that's the most valuable thing I think I've ever, probably one of the most valuable things Ali in my whole life. Best putting the pride and the ego to the side and kicking it out the window before. It has helped me out tremendously, and closing deals. Not even if it has nothing to do with in my personal life, business life, personal life, any kind, it really, really helped me tremendously to take the ego and talk normal.
What's the favorite place that you've ever visited?
My favorite place I have ever visited, Ali, would definitely be Dubai. Ras Al
Really?
Khaimah.
Ras Al Khaimah.
So you land in Dubai and
Yeah.
everything, but Ras Al Khaimah, where my mother's family, and Ajman, where my father's side of the family is, this is where I really love it. And even though the Emirates, beautiful place, But when I saw my family, where my roots, where I could have been if it wasn't for the sacrifices and the risks that my dad took in the 70s, that's where I feel the most at home. Because, like I said, I've never lived there, but the roots, you could tell that, these are my roots.
How important is it to travel?
Oh, traveling is, if you have an opportunity to travel, take it. It does not matter. Leave everything and go travel, because time flies. And I've, you remember, Ali, we studied in China together. So that was the best thing.
Yeah, there was
we can always talk.
We randomly ran into each other in China one day. You remember that?
I remember that.
I was on a study abroad trip from my college. You were on a study abroad trip from your college. Do you remember how we met up in China?
I remember it was somewhere in the square. I called you. I was like, "Hi, where are you at?" I don't know what the hell this sign says, bro, because I'm right here in the middle of this, in the square. And I remember it was the only call. I called him. 20 minutes later, I'm on top of, you're on top of the stairs, and I'm in the middle of China. So, like, I didn't know where he was or anything, but happened to be in the same city. And, we met, and alhamdulillah, we had a great time,
Do you remember the cab ride? We took a cab ride to a restaurant to meet up with all of our friends.
Yeah.
And I took the entire conversation in Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, yo, we're here to learn Chinese, man. But, like, do you remember how aggressive the Chinese salespeople were?
Yeah.
What is the difference between salespeople in America versus salespeople in other countries?
I think we're very babied. Like, to make this deal is that important. Every deal is so important in the Chinese culture. How the capitalism, they say they're communist. When you go there and you see how capitalism is really in these people, in the morning, you wake up in the morning, this little lady's riding her bicycle with a grill on the back, making you an egg sandwich, and like, okay, you don't have 6 you want, 2 you want, whatever, they go so hard, Ali. They go so hard. And alhamdulillah, we were blessed to go outside and see. Like in Ajman, in Ras Al Khaimah, I've been to Thailand, Malaysia. You see how people live, and you see how bad they want to hold on to that opportunity and make it. And you come here to the United States and you see, that's why you see a lot. Everybody has the positives and the negatives, but you see the Hispanic community here trying to grow. There was a tree that fell in my neighborhood, okay? There was about 30 Hispanic guys cutting it fast, bro. They had traffic. And then the 3-4 had the big bosses. They're not Hispanic. They're standing there watching them. I'm like, man, what would we do without these Hispanic?
Yeah,
right now, okay, I go get my car washed. 4 of them are washing my car. Bro, it's freezing. Ali, it's freezing. I'm watching them inside the car, and I'm freezing, and they're out here washing like, it's just the opportunity, man. Like, you have to do it. There's no pride. We're going to do this. We're going to feed our family.
So you feel like traveling allowed you to see how
Oh, yeah.
hungry other people
Of course,
were.
of course.
It brought that hunger back to the United
Yes.
States, and you're like, okay, now I really know what I need to do.
Not only that, Ali, the motivation is second to none. The ambition is second to none. The Hispanic community, anybody foreigner that comes in the country, they have seen and been in a lower place. Here in America, we are so babied. Nobody's really, like, yeah, I'm not saying
Especially the next generation.
Next generation, that's what I'm worried about my daughter. She's spoiled, like, you have to be careful because they have not felt real hardness or they feel like there's always opportunity. Oh, it's easy. No, man, you have to work, you have to push, you have to sweat, you have to tire, so alhamdulillah.
All right, this is the last question. You're on Snapchat all the time, going to different restaurants, and always posting. What is your go-to order?
My go-to order? Well, I love Hispanic food. The Hispanic culture.
Latino cuisine.
Oh, I love steak tacos, okay? But steak meat in general. So let's say definitely steak. It would be a medium cooked steak. Little Ali's or Ruth Chris Steakhouse would be my go-to.
But that's not Hispanic.
Well, I'm just telling you, steak Dalton is going to be tacos, 100%.
Dalton is steak tacos.
Always.
So what's your go-to? If it's like, if I could have this meal every day for the rest of my life, I'll eat it.
It would definitely be steak. So just a medium steak, filet mignon from either Ruth Chris Steakhouse or Little Ali's. For the rest of my life, alhamdulillah, I'd be more than happy.
Is there anything that you wish I would have asked you today that we didn't get into?
We covered the majority of everything off the top of my head. No, we actually did more than I thought we would,
I mean, because it's supposed to be just a casual conversation and then, throw in a couple questions here and there.
Yeah, I think we covered, there's a lot of stuff we got into and pretty deep into it that reminds me of all the good times growing up,
Alhamdulillah.
Especially when we grew up together, it's different, man. Now everybody has their own house, their own companies. So cherish, if whoever's listening to this, if you have brothers, if you have sisters, family, man, cherish all the time that y'all live together in that house. This is the time that you will remember, and it goes by so fast. So cherish those moments. Hug your family, your brothers, your sisters. No, before you know it, everybody will have their own life. So enjoy it while you can.
You heard it here first from the OG original Joker himself. Omar, how can people find you if they want to follow you?
Original.joker on Snapchat, original.joker, email amaniconsulting@gmail.com.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all so much for joining us on this episode of the Awad Pod with my older brother, Omar Awad. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show. This is the master of sales and the master of persuasion. Even though we didn't go as deep as we could have been talking for hours and hours and hours because he's a brilliant mind. And I can tell you without a doubt that the entire family would not be at this level if it was not for Omar and the work and the pavement that he laid for us early on. He paved the way for us to succeed. So I'm very thankful for my older brother Omar, and I'm very happy that we got to sit down and have this interview.
I had to have somebody push me and, put me where I needed to be. That's the family. Alhamdulillah. Without them, I would be nothing.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you all so much for joining us on the Awad Pod. We'll see you all on the next one.